genre.
In the world of Hollywood, movies get greenlit and redlit. They get remade and rebooted. But we are the ideal. I'm Sam Gasch, and you are listening to Ideal Remake. Thank you for listening to Ideal Remake. We take movies that either have been, will be, or should be remade and talk about what the ideal version of that remake would be. Now, today is going to have to be a quick episode. We only have 13 hours to solve this remake before it becomes a goblin. So, Shannon Peace, is Labyrinth a movie that has been, will be, or should be remade?
I think it will be, but I hope to God it never is.
I think that's the correct answer. It feels IP and well-known enough that eventually they're just going to be like, we got the guy from the new How to Train Your Dragon on it.
And I'm fine with a sequel. I'm fine with a prequel. But a remake without Bowie can never be. Can never be. I'm willing it.
But we'll give it our best go.
Yeah, no, I'm still going to give, this thought exercise my full gusto.
This wouldn't be the first episode I've opened with, never ever do this. Okay, let's rock and roll.
Sorry. It's the first time for everything.
Absolutely. But hey, Shannon, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sam. I'm happy to be here.
For people who don't immediately know you based on your name, why don't you tell us...
Which is everyone.
I mean, I don't know. Some people are big Emmys fans, and I can see one sitting behind you.
Oh, thank you for noticing, Sam. That is Miss Emmy Lou behind me, and she consoles me on those days and nights when I bemoan the loss of work industry-wide. Yeah. But
But tell us about yourself. Tell us what you won your Emmy for.
Oh, well, I won my Emmy for writing for the soap opera General Hospital, which is America's longest running drama, 60 plus years and change. I no longer write for it, but it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to being on your screen again with my name at some point in the near future, which I think all of us are very hopeful for.
I think that's true.
Yeah. I'm that rarest of things, a native Angelino. They say we don't exist. I know, they say we don't exist, but look, here I am in the flesh. And I'm also just a fan of all things that sprang to life in the 80s, myself included.
So, do you happen to remember where you first saw Labyrinth?
I don't. I know that it wasn't in the theater. I was too young, but I remember seeing it with my cousins and being instantaneously obsessed. Instantaneously. And then it became the kind of movie that I watch at least once a year.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, God, yeah. And in fact, I know that the podcast is not a visual medium, but I had to show you this. I wore this just for you, but I also just own it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You gotta explain to the people what you're saying, Sam.
So I'm seeing a t-shirt that says, "Long live the king," and it's a picture of David Bowie just really cupping his ball.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. That's it. That's right. Long Jareth, long may he reign. Otherwise,
long may that king in particular.
I was gonna say. Otherwise, I'm fervently no kings. But Jareth is an exception.
Okay, so then, if you watch this movie every year, do you have a favorite puppet in the movie, or does it kind of shift?
Oh, that's interesting. I gotta be honest. The puppets are not my favorite. Probably my favorite character in the whole movie is David Bowie's codpiece.
Sure. So I watched this movie with a couple friends of mine, and what we were talking about while we were watching it was apparently his diet during filming.
Oh. Which
was peppers, milk, and cocaine.
Tracks.
To the point where he got down to 80 pounds.
He is a lean, tall drink of water, David Bowie. And he's wearing breeches. If you're gonna wear calf skin breeches or whatever the hell those were, I think I'd be on peppers and milk too.
A lot of things going on in the 80s.
Lot of things going on in the 80s. Best not delved into on this episode.
This was only the second time I'd ever seen this movie.
Oh.
The first, I think, is one of those movies that I went on a blitz when I first got to LA and first got Netflix with DVDs. Yeah. And I was like, Labyrinth, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, so you were an adult.
Yeah, I didn't see it until I was an adult.
That's gonna be a different experience because there's just some things that you appreciate differently as an adult versus a child. And I think things are more indelible when you see things as a child, and you feel, not that you can't love a film as an adult, but it just is it's a different thing.
It doesn't take a part of your soul. It doesn't become a part of your, it's not a core memory necessarily when you see it as an adult. Yeah. It's possible.
Yeah, sure.
This one I guess isn't, but but obviously the best puppet is the little worm guy.
Love that. Well, it's funny because I didn't, we'll get to casting later, but we never pre-talked about whether we were casting, how many of the puppets we were casting for, but I thought about a voice for the little worm guy.
I thought about doing that one. I really only ended up doing Hoggle, Ludo, and Didymus.
Okay.
So I really only have 5 plus writer and director.
No,
so,
same. I don't have many, but...
Yeah, if you ended up doing more than that, they're all yours.
Yay! Win by default. My favorite kind of win.
2 sweetest words in the English language. But yeah, so that's my experience with the movie is I watched it on my own, and then a few nights ago I watched it with friends, and that's it.
Oh, what was more fun?
Oh, watching it with friends is always more fun.
Yeah.
This is absolutely a team movie. There's a lot of movies that I enjoy, but there's some movies that I'm you want to be able to experience with friends and talk and laugh and different things, and I think this is perfect for that.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
People watch Jaws on their own, and I can appreciate that.
Sure.
But watch Jaws with other people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know what? If you think about it, that's true of most things. There are a few things that I'm I need to be alone in the dark sobbing or something by myself, but most things are best experienced with other people, and best experience with other people who have an appreciation for it too. Yeah.
And even if it's a bad movie, which this is not.
Yeah. But no, a bad movie with other people is fantastic. You just laugh. The jokes, the laughs. No.
And for some of the episodes of this podcast, that's the only way I've been able to get to the movie. So the important thing is...
Is that how you felt about Biodome?
Maybe. So that's the episode that came out right before this one, and my guest liked that movie, but because it's a movie he saw when he was 12.
Right.
So it's one of those things, in his post, he's it's my favorite bad movie. And
right.
You know what? That's great.
Oh,
and
we
I
all
love
have
that for you.
Yeah.
Not for me, but wonderful.
You're because I'm an adult with discernment.
Yeah, well, we talked about this last episode too, but they're just some movies that you gotta see when you're 12, or you just
100%.
You don't like them. Sometimes you just don't like the Goonies.
100%. Yeah, I didn't see the Goonies until I was older, and I was I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I get why other people love it, so.
Of course.
Yeah.
There are people out there who have not seen Labyrinth, so I feel we have to do a quick synopsis summary before we get into kind of what we want to do with it.
Agreed.
So, Shannon, why don't you tell me a little bit how Labyrinth gets started?
Oh. Well, let's see. Labyrinth centers on a teenage girl named Sarah, who lives with her father and her stepmother and her baby brother from the new marriage. And she has a very active fantasy life, but she is frequently tasked with watching her baby brother, which she wholeheartedly resents. And so when we start the movie, she's once again being asked to give up, a Friday night to watch her little brother as her stepmother and her father take off onto the town. And so she, perhaps tongue-in-cheek, but perhaps real, wishes that the goblins would steal her little brother away. And what ensues is a crazy fun adventure in which that comes to pass.
We also learned that Sarah is a highly dramatic young lady.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of the things that when we find her, she is quoting from, and I don't know if it's her favorite play, novel, book, but there's a line that she cannot remember that is part of the penultimate monologue, and that comes back around in the end of the film and becomes a very important part of it. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that you see at the beginning of the film that kind of plays out throughout the film and comes back. So it's really cool that way. Lots of Easter eggs in this movie. But yeah, she goes on this crazy sort of adventure trying to rescue her baby brother from the Goblin King, Jareth, played by David Bowie. Sarah's played by Jennifer Connelly. And along the way, she meets new friends, she meets enemies, she meets enemy-turned friends, and she has a big choice to make at the end, and rescue her baby brother or sort of stay in this fantasy wonderland with tall drink of water Jareth and his codpiece. And it's a very empowering tale, but also one full of whimsy and sort of delight, and it's populated mostly by puppets, Jim Henson puppets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The non-puppet characters are Sarah's parents, who basically are there to abandon her.
Yes, correct.
Her little brother, her, Jareth, and I think that's it.
That's it. There are literally only 4 human beings in the film. And really only Sarah and Toby, the little brother, are the ones we see again after the first, the first 10 minutes of the film or something? Yeah.
Once we get past our inciting incident, That's it.
That's it. No more humans. It's an ideal world, Sam.
I can't, strictly speaking, deny that or argue with it. But, like, yeah, so it's just a fantastical Jim Henson Muppet world.
Yes.
But it's, like, Dark Crystal level weirdness Muppets.
But without the menace and the like... Because Dark Crystal is creepy as hell.
It is.
And scared the bejesus out of me as a child, and still does, if I'm honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Labyrinth has, like, the same kind of... sort of is populated by similar characters, but it has a lot more levity.
Yeah, I would say it's populated by the same sorts of characters, but there is never true threat.
Agreed.
It's a PG world, and you go in knowing that, so you're never really worried about any of the characters, which I think is fine and good.
I agree. And it's a sort of palate cleanser for 80s kids, because I swear to God, we were bedeviled on all sides with, like, scary as shit, really menacing, really twisted, warped content. And it's made so many of us, like, the people we are today. And it's like, Labyrinth was almost, like, easy, sweet, gentle, kind.
It's a real Kiki's delivery service in the darkness.
Indeed.
But yeah, so, like, basically, Sarah steps into this labyrinth. She immediately meets Hoggle, who lets her in.
Yes.
And he's kind of going around and watering the plants. What was he doing?
No, he was killing the fairies.
That's right, killing the fairies.
Maybe not killing. He was sort of, maiming, sort of,
He was on pest control.
And she's horrified at first, and then one bites her, and we realize that in this fantastical world, fairies are not a good thing.
That's right. Mm-hmm. We want things to be a little bit weird looking.
Yeah.
So Hoggle lets her into the labyrinth. She kind of takes off, walks for an hour, 2 hours, and doesn't make any progress until eventually she kind of gives up, sits down on the ground. This little worm guy's like, all right, you can do it. You just gotta look at things a little different than what you expect they'd be. He doesn't sound at all like this, but whatever, I've stuck to the bit.
He sounds pretty close to that. That's admirable.
Come on in and make the misses.
I like the Cockney. I like it. I'm digging it.
It's great. He's great. He's so cute.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, and realize that the walls, it's all an optical illusion.
Yes.
She goes off and she's going to turn left. And the worm's like, don't go that way. So she goes to the right. And he's like, she'd have gone right to the castle.
It still infuriates me as a child. I was always like, you sneaky worm. You double-crossing worm.
From the worm's perspective, absolutely right. Can't believe he did that. It's absolutely messed up. But from her perspective, I think if she'd gone to the castle right there, she wouldn't have been ready.
No, good point. She needed what was to unfold.
She needed to grow and learn from the adventure.
She did.
But yeah, so then we go on and just weirdness after weirdness. Like, I don't even remember the first, like, hazard she runs into.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have to mention that Hoggle is unbeknownst to her, is trying to thwart her efforts at every turn. And that's because he is being extorted by Jareth, the Goblin King, and literally threatened with, like, being suspended in the Bog of Eternal Stench, being turned into... He threatens to turn him into something if she kisses him, like...
The Prince of Eternal Stench.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least he'd be royalty.
Sure.
So, Hoggle is, within himself, he is an obstacle for her, but she doesn't realize that. She calls him her friend, which you can see makes an impact with him because nobody's ever called him that before. So then he has like a crisis of judgment, but he still has, the devil on his shoulder is Jareth threatening him. So he throws a few different obstacles in her pathway throughout the course of the adventure.
She also runs into the classic, one of these guards always tells the truth, one of them always lies. Mm-hmm. She figures it out very quickly.
She does. Smart girl, our Sarah.
And then she moves on and she ends up encountering... She falls down into the oubliette. Right, so she falls down into the oubliette and then Hoggle helps her out of there.
Yeah.
At which point he gets scared off by roaring and then she runs into Ludo.
Yes, I just realized there's something one of the first obstacles, you were wondering what it was. It was the little tiny people changing. She wrote marked arrows on the flagstones, and they would change the direction of the arrows. And the reason I also have to mention this is because this is like a famous line in Labyrinth lore that people love, is that one of them gets angry and says, "Your mother is an aardvark!"
I missed that entirely. That's amazing.
And if you talk to a Labyrinth fan, for some reason, that is a line that comes up a lot.
That's so good. I love that. Okay, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Because she's like, it's a labyrinth.
Right.
Now, here's a fun, weird fact for you.
Ooh.
Do you know the difference between a labyrinth and a maze?
No idea.
The difference between a labyrinth and a maze is that a maze has dead ends, and a labyrinth is not supposed to. The difference between a labyrinth and a maze is that the labyrinth, as long as you keep going straight and keep walking through it, no matter how many times it twists and turns and goes back and forward, it should just be a single path.
Interesting. So she was going to make it to that darn castle no matter what. It just might have taken her 20 years. As
long as she had the courage of her convictions.
Oh, nicely done, Sam.
And never turned around. You turn around, that's how you get lost. It's the, so, like, the whole, like, Minotaur and the Labyrinth thing, like, he brings string. It's the origin of the word clue, because string at that time was called clue. He brings a string, and he's, chasing it around, and that's why he always knows he's going in the same direction, because it's always string. And if he runs into more of a string, it means he's turned around.
Look at that. And look at you, like, dispensing life lessons. As long as you never turn around. As long as you
never
keep going.
Turn around. Never second guess yourself. You have to be right and can never admit you've made a mistake ever.
Well, wait.
The only way. Yes, good. We're all agreeing. But yeah. So, but yes, good memory. That was a very cute where they, like, the little guys pick up the cobblestones, turn them around. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She ends up, so there's this monster roaring. It's Ludo. Hoggle runs away, but it's these goblin guards torturing this big monster guy.
Aww.
But his roaring summons rocks that gives Sarah the opportunity to pick the rocks up and throw them at the guards, which she does. And she's able to chase them away and set Ludo free. This big, terrifying guy. And she's like, we'll be friends. And he's like, okay.
Friends?
They look like big, strong hands.
Oh, no. Don't break my heart. Wrong movie and stop. But did I not say the 80s was just designed to break our young hearts?
80s is dark times.
Jesus.
As evidenced by the movie I referenced.
Yes.
It's different kinds of bogs in that movie.
Yes. By the way, I have in my garden, in my raised vegetable planter, Atreyu and Arthax. No. I do. I'll send you a picture later. It's so sick and so sad.
It's messed up, but that's great.
Thank you.
And so, all of a sudden, now, Sarah has acquired her first companion, and then she makes it to the doors. One of the doors has the knocker in its ears, can't hear a thing. The other has the knocker in his mouth. It can't speak. They make it past the doors, they keep moving, and then they get trapped in some forest, right?
Wait, is this where they're in the Bog of the Eternal Stench?
No, not yet, because they get to the forest, and then she loses Ludo for a minute, and then she picks up Hoggle, because Hoggle ends up with her in the Bog of Eternal Stench.
Right. You're right. I don't remember the forest. Why do I not remember the forest? Is this where they meet the fire gang in this song?
Yeah.
Chill it down with the fire gang.
Those puppets are the freakiest thing in the whole movie.
So scary.
They're so scary. It's these, like, weird dancer things that, like, rip off parts of their own bodies.
Yes.
Like, you've got to be one of us. We'll just pop off your head like we pop off our heads. And she's like, no.
With the most, like exuberant song to accompany this creepy popping off of... By the way, I love this soundtrack. It's such a good soundtrack.
It's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, David Bowie.
Come on.
But then Hoggle throws down a rope, she escapes, and then she's so relieved and excited to see Hoggle that she gives him a kiss, and he's like, no, don't kiss me.
Don't.
And the floor falls out from underneath them, and they fall almost into the Bog of Eternal Stench.
That's right.
And that's how they end up there.
That's right. The Bog of Eternal Stench, which Sir Didymus cannot smell, mysteriously.
He cannot. Interesting.
But I'm leaping ahead, please.
Well, I mean, that's basically where we are. And then, like...
That's where we meet him, though, right? Sir Didymus.
It is. Ludo busts out, and they're like, oh, hi, Ludo. Thank you for joining us. And Ludo's like, oh my... Smell bad! And they manage to make it out. They figure out that Ludo can summon rocks from underneath the bog so they can step across over.
Thank God, because if you get one part of your body in the Bog of Eternal Stench, you will smell bad forever. Can never wash it off.
It's like a reverse Achilles.
That's right. It's terrible. It makes you a social pariah.
It helps you become a social pariah. It's not...
It's not the sole reason.
Yeah. So they end up reaching a bridge, and guarding the bridge is Sir Didymus.
Mm-hmm.
Who,
and what is he? Is Sir Didymus like a he's like almost a dog himself, but then he has a dog. His loyal steed is a dog.
Was he a fox?
Is he a fox? Maybe he's a fox.
I always assumed he was a fox, but like the way his mouth like hinges too wide open has always reminded me of the little fuzzball from Dark Crystal.
Yes. Yeah, like, very similar.
It's the same kind of like mouth movement with the teeth and everything.
Same mechanism, yeah.
But basically, Sir Didymus and Ludo fight basically to a standstill. But Didymus is like, I can't let you pass. I'm honor bound by my oath to protect the bridge. And Sarah's like, so what's the oath?
I don't remember. Wait, what was the oath?
The oath is, I am honor bound to make sure that no one crosses this bridge without my permission.
Oh, and Sarah asks for his permission.
And he's like, oh.
He's like, oh. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And she's like, great, thank you. And then they all go by, and he's like, oh. And that's when he summons his little sheepdog companion.
Ambrosius.
Oh, I forgot the name. It's such a good name.
It's such a good name.
Such a good dog. And Ambrosius is like, because she has a sheepdog back home. So it's like a combination Merlin. It's a combination of...
Do you know I never thought about that till just now?
I have a whole theory about this movie.
Okay, I love it. We're going to get into that. All right, continue.
And so, like, Ambrosius is summoned and, like, go off and he rides, and they finally make it to the Grand City, but, like, oh, wait, no. Jareth shows up and he tells Hoggle, you gotta give Sarah this, otherwise I'm gonna kill ya. And Hoggle's like, well, I don't want to die. Sarah, I don't want to do this, but here you go. And she's like, boy, I was hungry. Thank you for handing me this
This was the fruit, because Jareth first tells Hoggle to take her back to the beginning of the Labyrinth, which is where she first realizes that Hoggle has nefarious intentions. Then another time, Jareth gives Hoggle the little crystal ball that Jareth is always sort of juggling. And then the third one was the fruit, the forbidden fruit. Looks like a peach, kind of, right? Yeah.
And so Sarah takes a bite of the peach because they're all so very hungry.
And who doesn't take a bite of a peach? I mean, come on.
I mean, me. I don't particularly care for peaches, but generally...
I won't fruit shame, sorry. Continue.
That's fair. Thank you. And that kind of knocks her out and puts her in a weird trance where she ends up falling into the trash land with the people who keep everything they love attached to themselves on their back. And then she wakes up kind of in her home bedroom.
Wait. Isn't the fruit the ball?
It's both.
Isn't the ball first?
No, you're right.
Yeah, so the fruit, when she takes the bite of the fruit and realizes that Hoggle has betrayed her, because she says, Hoggle, what did you do? It dissolves into this scene of this masquerade ball.
You're correct. I'd forgotten about that.
Oh, I could never forget, because it's Jareth with eye makeup and plumes.
So tell me what happens at this masquerade ball.
Well, she's... Sarah, first of all, is taken out of the clothes we've seen her in the entire movie, and she's in a sort of giant, billowy, metallic ball gown, and her hair is up and threaded with, like, silver thread, and she looks gorgeous. And she's moving amongst all of these people, and she's unmasked, but I think everybody else is pretty much masked.
She is unmasked, but it has the largest hair you've ever seen.
She could have the entirety of the Goblin City in the hair.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And so we keep getting glimpses of Jareth, and she gets glimpses of him, but then he'll disappear. And so she keeps moving forward, like looking for him through this party. And you just see the revelers, and they're all like a little on the verge of hysteria. It's very eyes wide shut, but sexier. And finally, Jareth moves into frame, and he's singing as the world falls down, and they have a dance. They have like a little, I don't know if it's a waltz, maybe, but it's a dance. It's a dance, and she's kind of on the verge of swooning and getting lost in this like beautiful Technicolor fantasy, and then she comes to her senses and realizes, oh, that's right, I got a baby brother out there somewhere. Should I rescue him, or should I keep dancing with the Goblin King?
I guess I'm not allowed to keep having fun. All right, I gotta go home.
I gotta tell you, like, as a kid, I just kept telling my cousins that I would have been like, screw the baby, I'm staying with Jareth. And I said this at like 8 years old, so that kind of tells you where my values lie.
But yeah, so she gets to the ball and then ends up in like the garbage pile with all the garbage people who keep everything they love on their back.
Yes.
They trick her into going back home.
The junk lady. I like the junk lady. Yeah.
Gets her back in her own bedroom and is like, this is important to you. You should keep this. Hold on to this. You should keep this. It's all these different things in her room that are so much more important and so valuable. And you need to hold on to the physical things because they're what matter most.
Absolutely.
And then she hears her brother crying, and she's like, wait, everything I'm holding on to is junk. The thing that matters is my brother.
Aww.
And she busts out, she reunites with Hoggle and Ludo and Didymus,
and
then they storm Goblin City.
Yeah, and then they storm the castle.
It's great. There's a big battle scene, and goblins are attacking, and everyone's attacking and fighting back, and
it's good.
Then Ludo summons the rocks.
Yes. I love how everybody uses their individual little skill sets to further the mission.
And we learned that the dog, what was the name again?
Ambrosius.
Ambrosius is a coward, and it's amazing.
Which is funny because Didymus is afraid that he himself is a coward. Like, he kind of says that earlier, and you realize, oh no, it's just your not-so-noble steed.
It's great.
Yeah, it's good.
They win, they get in the castle, and that brings Sarah face-to-face with Jareth, and she says, no, I have to go fight the final boss alone. If I need you guys, I'll let you know. And basically, Jareth drops her in this MC Escher-esque...
Yes!
Not esque, it is MC Escher.
Yeah.
Like, maze, and she has to, like, track down and find her brother, and she has to take a leap of faith off the side in order to reunite with her brother.
Yes.
And she's given one final puzzle and riddle by Jareth, and she basically has to say the monologue she said at the beginning of the movie.
And it's the line that she forgot is what is needed to sort of topple the king and defeat him and rescue her baby brother.
And it is...
You have no power over me. Good for you.
The whole world explodes.
Good for you, Sarah, because he got power over me, girl.
Yeah. and so everything falls away. She wakes up back home.
Yes.
Her parents are returning home. The baby brother's in the crib. Everything's great. The adventure is over. And she looks in the mirror, and her friends are saying goodbye. And she says goodbye to her friends. And they're like, but if you ever need us, we'll still be here. And she goes...
And there's this palpable sense of melancholy. Like, you can tell that she's happy that she rescued her baby brother and had this adventure, but that... it's sadness that this is over, that this is coming to an end.
Yeah, and she says, well, I am still going to need you from time to time. And he goes, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. And they go, great. And then, like, her room is populated by puppets again, and they all dance and party as they pan out the window. The Jareth owl's looking out, and the movie ends.
It's I just realized this is the first time we mentioned the owl, and we mentioned it at the end, but it is sort of a recurring... Yeah, he's an owl.
The barn owl is Jareth. It has a CG version, a puppet version, and a real owl version.
Woo! That's commitment right there. I like it.
It's all the states of matter.
Phil Hollywood matter.
Absolutely. But yeah, so that's the movie as it exists.
Yes.
So I have a theory about this movie.
Oh, please. Let's hear it.
I was thinking about it in a couple of different ways, because like we were having a conversation at the end of the movie of like, so did reality break? All the goblins are just in her apartment now? Or in her house now? And the way I thought about that end scene is that basically the way Sarah has been living this is that this whole thing has been a play to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's the hero. She's been the hero the whole time. And so she's been constructing this reality because it's all her imagination. And all of these are the different characters. And so like that, and so they did it. They pulled it off. They had an amazing production. And so at the end, when they're all partying in her room, that's the cast party. They did it. And
booze and hookups to follow.
Kind of, yeah. But like fundamentally, just like we just put on the play that I always dreamed that we'd be able to put on, and we did it. Let's all celebrate. Me and all my imaginary friends.
I love that. I love that idea. I mean, it's definitely a rite of passage, right? Whether you believe this really happened to her, or whether you believe this is completely of her imagining, this adventure was a rite of passage that she had to go through to sort of symbolize that transition between childhood and adulthood. And that's one of the things I really love about the film.
My impression of the movie is that it is her imagined story, but it makes it, I think, even more interesting because it makes her so introspective that she is able to find the flaws in her own character.
Ooh.
Because that's what makes for a compelling and interesting heroine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would just be her winning the whole time, and
that's
then it would probably be a male lead. But the important thing is... Look, we've all seen Wanted. So the important thing is, but it's like, it is kind of the difference of like the special boy versus the special girl.
Yes.
Of like the special girl has like the moment of like introspection of like, oh, I need to be better than what I am in order to succeed at this mission I've set forth on.
No, that's absolutely true. And if you think about it, like the entire thing is her realizing that her resentment of her brother, that her love for him outweighs that, and that maybe she has been behaving a little churlishly and childishly. And it's a very adult decision to cast off the things of your childhood and and make the choice to save your brother when you could live in this world of whimsy, right?
Yeah, when you realize that there's genuinely a chance that this kid might not be there anymore, and especially if it's your fault, that you'd be like, I'm gonna go get the brother one.
Yeah, but theoretically, she didn't have to go back. She could have stayed in the goblin. So she would have never, she would have never had to deal with the consequences of not returning Toby to her parents.
Yeah.
But she did the right thing for the right thing's sake.
If there is a sequel to this movie, I think it should star Jennifer Connelly and Jennifer Connelly, where Jennifer Connelly is playing both the version of her that came back and the version of her that stayed.
Ooh, it's like a sliding doors meets Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm into that.
I think that'd be fun.
All right, we might have to talk after this, Sam.
Yeah, more people need to confront their evil selves.
No, I love that idea.
But we're doing a remake, so
Yes.
Let's talk about what are the things about Labyrinth that make it fascinating and compelling to you.
I mean, puppets.
Yes.
But puppetry aside, I do love how it's all about a vivid imagination. And one of the things I talked about earlier was the Easter eggs in the film, and that you really see how she has incorporated her reality into this adventure. It's very reminiscent almost of Wizard of Oz. You know how when you find out about Wizard of Oz, you realize, okay, this character from the real life is now this character in Oz. So it's all, it's sort of transfigured into that. And so, like, you see, like, a scrapbook at the beginning. Like, apparently there's this whole backstory where her mother is an actress.
Oh, okay.
Which took me many viewings to, like, even notice the scrapbook. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh. So there's pictures of her mother, who is this stage actress. And there's pictures of her mother with David Bowie, who's a fellow actor. So you realize that Sarah, the teenage girl, has seen Jareth, quote unquote, but he's an actor. And so she has pictures of him. And then you see other things like she has a stuffed animal that looks like Sir Didymus. So I remember she has all those toys, books, games, puzzles. Like, we see a puzzle that looks like a labyrinth. We see the MC Escher painting on her wall, or picture on her wall. So it's like all of these things that you
Ludo
realize...
is her couch.
Yeah, that was her entire sectional. No, so you see all of these things that you start to realize, okay, this is where that came from. And this is how her imagination transfigured it into this new world. And so I think that's so cool that they do that. And there's lots of other ones too. I mean, you could do a real deep dive because Labyrinth people are crazy. But I'm not going that deep. But there's a lot of, but you even mentioned a couple of things that I was like, Merlin being Ambrosius that I hadn't even thought about. So there's definitely parallels between her reality and her imagination. And so that's really cool to see. And it also makes you think about how we do that from childhood to adulthood. It just makes you think. So it's just magical in that way.
There is an argument that, like, a version, like, some of the ideas from here are kind of like in a version of something that where a remake kind of already happened a little bit is Agatha All Along. Where there's this lead character who kind of like, and then in that we kind of realize, because Marvel, it's like he really was constructing this whole world based off all the things he knew. Right. And I think that is cool and compelling as well. But, like, I like the mystery of, like, we don't know. I like the narrative, like, she's a little bit of an unreliable narrator, but it's also like an unreliable world of, like, how much of this is real versus imagined.
And I love that.
That's what Muppets are at the end of the day.
Yes.
Like, the thing that I'm seeing on Instagram every now and again, like this week, last week, is I think it's Seth Meyers interviewing Kermit the Frog, and he asks Kermit that, well, hey, what's the difference between a puppet and a Muppet? And Kermit goes, well, a puppet is it's cloth, it's a puppet, people, like, move it around, it's a hand, it's cloth over a hand. Whereas I'm a living, breathing frog.
Wow.
And, like, that's the answer. And it's like, yeah, kind of.
Well, it's true because they always coexist. Muppets coexist with humans.
Right.
So it's not that far a reach for us to say, well, she very well could have had this adventure with these puppets, right?
Exactly.
Because we've already seen a world in which puppets coexist with we inferior beings.
Yeah. One of the other things I think that is good and unique and important for this movie is a lack of technology.
Yes.
Like, she's 14, 15 years old, maybe 16, I don't know. And, like, even if we were doing it now, and because I often think, like, hey, when the movie came out, it was a contemporary movie. So I feel like for a remake, it needs to be a contemporary movie, usually. Not always. But like even a contemporary movie, like let's say she has a cell phone, doesn't have a cell phone, but I feel like someone her age, because we don't see any of her friends, she doesn't mention anyone else in her life.
Right.
She's just a very imaginative young lady who is kind of just like likes living in the world that she created, but is kind of kept being forced back into reality. And I feel like you could blend that in a little bit of these parents finally have the time to go out on this date at 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not olds. Olds don't go out that late. But like, and like you bring the technology back in of it's this looming threat over her shoulder of I just want to live in this magical world I created, but I keep being brought back to this reality. And I think you could even play around with that in the Labyrinth a little bit of she keeps having to go and rescue her brother, but every time her phone rings and the parents call to check in, it drags her back to the beginning of the Labyrinth.
That's good.
And that's like the and that's the existential threat of I want to be able to imagine, but this keeps breaking my immersion.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. In the remake, in this ideal remake, do you foresee it still being puppets?
Oh, absolutely.
I love that you said that because I was like, I wonder if Sam and I are going to have this conversation. He's going to be like, all right, so first thing, let's do away with the puppets.
No. If there's puppets, there's puppets. It's not Labyrinth without puppets.
Okay, I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, and I was like, no CGI. Like, I want...
No.
Yeah.
Like, the sets here are so cool and interesting and amazing. And there's, like, the giant, like, it's the cleaner, and this giant drill's coming through the labyrinth. They, like, dive, like, they bust open a door, and then, like, the drill goes past, and it's just a couple of Muppets on a bicycle behind it.
Isn't it great?
It's so good.
It's so good, and it's so tactile. It's almost very tactile in that Indiana Jones kind of way, where you really can feel the sets are the sets. Like, it's not... We're not watching something that was created digitally. Like, we're watching people dive and jump and roll on a real set.
Which is what makes it good and compelling and yes, exactly as you said, keeps people interested and allows you to, like... And I suppose you could do this with CGI too, but, like, that's no fun. Like, seed in the real objects throughout. Yeah. Like, I make the joke about Ludo being the couch, but there's no reason why he can't be. It's like, literally, you can make something out of the same material, and material is tactile.
Yeah.
Like, you get one of those big, fuzzy couches, and then you use that same kind of material to make a big, fuzzy guy.
Yeah, why not?
That's gonna feel different than, like, Sully.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree 100%. Yep.
And people do amazing things with technology. Computers are really cool. They do amazing, like, wonderful things. But, like, give us a real set. Like, it's Labyrinth. If you're going to be trapped someplace, you need to be trapped someplace.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you, aside from are we keeping the puppets, is are we keeping the humor? Because that's one of the things that, to me, is very present in Labyrinth. Like, there's a lot of levity. There's a lot of, and I was like, do you feel like it should be a darker film? Do you feel like the stakes should be raised? Or do you feel like you like the fact that it's kind of light?
No. I mean, fundamentally, you can do a remake of Labyrinth that is darker, but if you do that, you just put a pan in front of it, and then that's your other Labyrinth movie.
It's so funny, because when we're going to get to directors, I thought about Guillermo del Toro. Yeah. And then I was like, that's not right. It's not the right tone. Tonally, it's not right. And also, you have to be very careful, because if you think about it, you have to remember, this is a story about a teenage girl who, in 1986, was actually played by a teenage girl. She was literally a teenager, rescuing an infant. And I was like... How dark do we want to make it if it's a teenage girl and an infant?
Well, that's exactly it. Like, you get Guillermo del Toro, like, even his Pinocchio, which in and of itself is a dark tale.
Sure.
But there's some messed up shit in that movie.
Right. Yep.
Like, you watch people die.
Yeah. That's why I scratched Guillermo pretty early. I was like, you know what? Nah, that's a negative.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, like, it's gotta be, like, part of what makes Labyrinth is that it looks creepy, but is light. Like, I think the perfect metaphor for Labyrinth is that drill, where it's this big, ominous, terrifying thing, and then you look on the other side, and it's just like a monkey, like on a bicycle, and it's just like
it's the
perfect.
It's the Great Oz, right? It seems scary, and then you realize, oh.
Yes, exactly that. So, like, we're not going to sit here and, like, write out all the jokes, but, like, we have our three companions that I think are largely going to be the same.
Sure.
But what I do think would be fun for us to do, because I think fundamentally we like the movie is I think if it's going to be a new version, I think we've added in the threat of she has to go through it multiple times, and that's instead of turning the clock forward, she has to retrace her path because she gets a phone call, she gets this, that, the other thing.
Yes.
But I feel like we can come up with 2 other set pieces. Like, I don't think we need the Bog of Eternal Stench, but we can come up with something that's like that.
Ooh. Look at you throwing me a curveball.
Yeah, well, I believe you and I mean, I'm not an Emmy Award-winning writer, but you are. I believe you could give me a couple of cool set pieces.
Let's see. Well, I can give you one, maybe.
You
got to come up with the other one.
Deal.
Well, when you talk about sort of busting her out of her immersion, I like the idea of, instead of the junkyard, where she ends up is something contemporary. Where she ends up is some place that is very much tied to this current world of social media and digital everything and rabbit holes. And I don't know exactly what that is. Maybe we can kind of spitball. But I love the idea that she ends up, listen, if this were the 90s, it would be an internet cafe, right? But that's defunct. But I'm trying to think of like, unless she ends up in social media some kind of way. Is she live streaming? Like, it needed to be her version of hell. You know what I mean? And then she's restored to her room, which is a place of peace and calm where she can be herself again.
I've got a pitch for you.
Do it. Lay it on me, baby.
So, my pitch is, you know who my favorite character in this movie is?
Sir Didymus. No, the worm.
No, that's
worm.
Your favorite character.
Yes, you're right. The
worm is my favorite. And what is a very commonly known piece of fruit that worms are often found in?
Oh, God. Not the fruit again. Fruit keeps coming up in this
remake. But let's take an apple.
Uh-huh.
And we can literally have it be of she reaches for her salvation, her distraction, her thing to drown out the noise, her apple, and instead finds that there's a worm inside.
Oh, God. Oh, nice.
And that could be our introduction to the worm, and you can't just rely on the thing that you use to drown out the world. You have to go on the adventure. So, like, instead of her just randomly giving up in this alley and, like, sitting down and the worm happening to be there, I think she should actually give up and reach for her apple.
Mm-hmm.
And in the apple is the worm who's like, oh, well, I thought you were done with this, so I figured it was mine now. Are you not done with this? I thought you were doing something. And that's what gets her to actually, like, actually take the time to not rely on the phone.
Yeah.
And look around and pay attention to the world around her.
I love that. Does the set piece change, though? Are we transported to the worms? Does she go meet the missus? Like, what?
No, I think she puts that down and then leaves.
Okay.
And then the worm can turn back to the apple and go, great, more for me.
Nice.
And every time she has to go back through the maze, the worm never moved and just keeps being there the whole time until eventually at the very end when she's like, no, you're coming with me. You shouldn't have to be stuck on the apple either.
Well, I love the idea of her learning repeatedly. It's giving me a little Memento, like where you learn some and then you got to go back and then we got to learn more and then we got to remember what we learned and then we got to, I like that kind of thing. So,
because I love the idea of like her getting to the door. One always lies, one always speaks the truth. And every single time they have to come up with a new solution.
Oh,
it's
God.
like, you did that last time. She's like, I know, it worked last time. It's like, can't do the same one twice. Which one of you is saying that? Us. Damn it. And so, like, she has to come up with a new one every single time. Or, like, she finally gets to the door and, like, the doors with the knockers. And she got through the door the first time. It's like, well, now you need the secret code. And it's like, you have to figure out something for each of them. And it moves a little bit faster every time. But, like, getting through it. Because we all got to navigate back to that page we lost.
We do. Well, we're making our Sarah even smarter and pluckier than Jennifer Connelly, so I am so curious to know who you think should be Sarah.
I did move her up from 15 to 16, but I think
okay. She's got to be a little older because listen, I love this movie, as you know, with a passion unparalleled. But Connelly was 15 and Bowie was 39.
I'm aware. I kept them both at that age though.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. All right.
I actually don't know how old my Jareth is, but I'm not going to look it up. I'm sure he's somewhere in his 30s. But, so that's kind of like a fun little twist. And, like, it's running the labyrinth multiple times and getting better at it to the point where, like, it's like Scott Pilgrim at the end, going back through and just, like, speed running his way through that final level.
No, I love that. And I think that gives us more to her arc, her character arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't give us just sort of like an artificial, let's move the time clock forward. This is her working, and we're seeing her work.
Yeah, so instead of the Bog of Eternal Stench, I think we could do a bog of... I mean, we're not going to do like a Pit of Despair. Like, that's all been done.
Yeah.
Like, the things that are kind of like more modern is...
She has to live in Twitter forever.
Yeah, I was going to say like the River of Information. Like the bog of...
You were talking about doom scrolling earlier, so what if it's like... It's something having to do with where it's just... You're just fated to doom scroll for the rest of your life. But is there like a physical manifestation of that? Is it a river? Is it a volcano? What is it?
I mean, a volcano would be fun. A volcano would be very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a volcano's fun, actually.
All
Let's
right.
do a volcano.
Let's do a volcano.
Like, that is something that they didn't do. And it's like, why do you have and it's a castle on top of a mountain.
Right.
The mountain can be a volcano.
I love it.
And like, so like very much it's like you fall into this lava flow, like you're not getting back out. And you literally have to follow the flow all the way down. Like, it won't kill you, but it will encase you in this rock. It'll just enclose in you a rock, and all you know is just the darkness and drain.
Oh, tell me about it. We live in it sometimes. Okay.
Yeah, we do. and that's the difference. Is it's a volcano, and it's not magma, but it is just awful, just the worst things you've ever heard. And yes, so I think a volcano is correct, because absolutely, like, and then you even can then have that tied into Ludo, because some of the rocks he summons,
Yes,
like, it can be like, oh wait, are there people inside these rocks? And another thing that Sarah can realize is that Ludo is trying to get the rocks away, but they need to break the rocks, because then they'll have allies trapped in the rocks who can help them.
Other people on their fruitless mission who are...
people who failed and got trapped in rocks.
What?
And like,
I dig it.
That's like that's what was giving Jareth all of his power.
Whoa.
And also, of course, we didn't say it before, but he still has to be contact juggling.
Oh, 100%. No, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's different.
Well,
all right. Relatively, when viewed from a certain perspective and era.
When he does it, it's cool. I still don't know how he does the one where he has the 3 rotating and there's one sitting on top of them in the middle.
Well, he's actually not doing it.
No, I know he has a body, a juggling double or whatever it was.
But like, they did a good job of making it seem like he was doing it.
They did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
And it's great, and I love the glass balls becoming bubbles and like the going back and forth.
Yes,
wonderful, love it.
Chef's kiss.
But yeah, I like Hoggle's arc.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ludo's arc.
Mm-hmm.
I like Didymus.
Yeah.
Now, if Didymus is at he was at the Bog of Eternal Stench, so now he's going to be protecting the
volcano.
The volcano.
Yeah.
So
he can't feel the heat.
He can't feel the heat. It's like, aren't you worried about like becoming encased in rock? No. Okay.
I love Didymus's obliviousness. We were just talking about obliviousness, so this is his saving grace, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, great. He's like, aren't you worried about being encased in rock? Why would I be worried about anything in my entire life? All right, hell yeah.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Just you and your dog companion against the world. And like, yeah, that's kind of it. Like, what else do we need for our remake? Like, what are things that are important about Labyrinth that needs to stick around with us?
Well, I like the absence of humans. I think that needs to stay.
Agreed.
I'm fine with seeing very little of the parents.
I'm even okay if we never see them.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. If
like, she comes home from her adventure and she finds the note, or she gets a text. Mm-hmm. We only interact with the parents via text on the phone.
Love it.
Like, the text tells her to come home. Or like, literally that. We have her going off her adventure, her playing in the woods, doing her monologue, and then a text breaks it, and now she has to go home.
Yes.
And then she gets home, and they're like, you took too long getting home. We're heading out for the evening. We'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
And we never see the parents.
Love it. I love it. It's like the 1939 film The Women, where we never see a man, which I also love.
Great.
No offense to men, Sam.
Any man who would be offended by that, fuck him. But like, yeah, so like, Yeah, something like that, where it's just really the only two humans are her and the babe.
Yes.
Now, which babe?
What do you mean? The babe with the power.
What power?
The power of voodoo.
Voodoo?
Hoodoo.
Hoodoo?
Do what?
Remind me of the babe.
I saw my baby. All right. Cutting my own self off. Thank you for that, though.
To be fair, I was setting you up.
I love it. It took me a couple seconds, but I was picked up what you put down. Love it.
But yeah, so okay, so good. No parents.
Yeah, none.
The source of misery are the phones, the apples, the things that bring you back to the real world when all you want to do is live in imagination. And you're a child, you should be allowed to live in imagination.
Absolutely.
To the point where I even think we could do that, where the younger sibling, like, they keep just putting an iPad to distract the baby in the crib.
That's funny.
And so eventually she's like, no, let me take the baby on the adventure and, like, leave the iPad alone. Like, we're on an adventure. Don't just silence the baby.
Or we see it in the we see it in the bookends. Remember in this film, the baby has one of her stuffed animals and she's very upset about it. Yeah. Maybe the kid has an iPad and then at the end
it's her iPad.
Or at the end she gives the kid the stuffed animal. You know, it's like taking it from this sort of, you know.
I think it'd be more impactful. Like, I think giving the baby the doll works in the first movie, but that doesn't really work for a modern child.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because, like, I also don't want her to give the baby the iPad because it kind of defeats the purpose.
Right.
I think the more fun thing is that then she turns around and chooses to take the baby on an adventure.
Oh, you mean takes the baby into the woods with her?
Yeah,
next
takes
time
the baby
she's
with
there.
her into the woods.
Oh.
Or she's having this big cast party with all the goblins and all the goblins and stuff at the end, and she brings the baby and says, "Hey, these are my friends.
These are my friends." I love that. Love that. Love that.
And I think that's more impactful because, like, I don't think a modern kid is going to have a wall of teddy bears.
No, probably
certainly not at 15.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly had a ton of Beanie Babies, but that was separate. They were collectible items.
There you go. Of course they were. Yeah, that's your story and we're sticking by it.
I can currently see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sitting in the room I'm currently in. It's fine. It's fine. No one's judging me. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's like my micro machines. Whatever.
Micro machines. You've got to say it with speed. Micro machines. But yeah, okay. So that kind of gives us a little bit more of an arc.
Yes.
Are there any other set pieces or any other, like, puppet shenanigans or things that we might be missing?
No, I got to get into casting, man. I got to hear your casting.
Great, let's talk about casting.
Chomping at the bit.
We got to start with Jareth.
Yeah, we do. We do. As much as I hate it, we do.
Yeah, like, when we were doing this, like, there was kind of, like, I had one idea and I've been sticking with it the whole time, but I'd love to hear who you have for Jareth.
Oh, you want me to go first?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay. So, as you know, this was very difficult for me. Getting verklempt. But in the spirit of Ideal Remake, I thought about who has both some musical chops and also has the requisite androgyny. I feel like that is necessary for this character. I think that's a huge part of his appeal.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I was like, somebody needs to be able to pull that off, you know? So I actually went with Harry Styles.
Oh, interesting. That I can absolutely see that. That's a great choice. Like, especially with the androgyny and everything like that, I don't think you can make an argument that he's a modern day David Bowie.
No.
But I think if you're going for, like, that sort of vibe, I think that that's certainly a reasonable place to turn.
Right. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers probably would have been my number one, but I think now he's just getting a little up there. He's older than 39, you know, so.
My actor, I've really only ever seen him in Barbie, but apparently he was also very good on Sex Education. But in terms of, like, androgyny and vibes and just being an icon, everyone seems to absolutely love Ncuti Gatwa, the most recent Doctor from Doctor Who.
Oh, interesting.
And, like, to go after and, like, wear the same kind of outfits and, like, moving around with bubbles and, like, being a goblin king, I feel like that actor would be so good.
I can totally see it. My question is, can he sing?
I have no idea.
We didn't even talk about, do we still want this to be as musical as it is?
I would love to play with all of the senses. Obviously, we can't actually touch something, but just, like, I think that, like, Jareth the Goblin King should paint with lights and create and make magic amazing things. And I would love it if like he had to like make these things that start as like, we could even have Jareth trying to decide if he wants to play around with physical reality or computer generated, and he keeps like taking the computer generated things and making them physical reality. And like playing with colors and match and everything. And so like music absolutely would be a big part of that.
Yeah. See, I just don't know enough about Nakuti and whether he can bring the music part of it.
Let's find out.
Whereas Harry could introduce us to a whole new spin on the soundtrack.
Let's find out. So the first thing I just came up with is a YouTube video with Nakuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson singing in Doctor Who, and this video is titled, I shit you not, The Goblin King.
Get out of here. Stop.
So I feel like the die's kind of cast.
I think, yeah, as soon as we found that clip, it was a done deal. It's donezo.
But that brings us to Sarah.
Yes.
I can go first for this one. I always feel terrible Googling teenage girls, but it's the thing I do for my craft.
They're coming for you. Some agency's coming for you at some point.
If they're not, they're failing at their job. So interestingly, I originally found an actress named Abby Ryder Fortson, who actually looks a lot like young Jennifer Connelly.
Okay.
That was such a one-to-one that it actually made me a little nervous of like, well, we're just kind of doing the same thing. So I ended up not going with her, despite the fact that I'm sure she's lovely. Okay. I ended up finding an actress who I believe is 16, named Yaya Gosselin. She was...
there she is.
She was on a show called FBI and FBI Most Wanted. She was in 13 Reasons Why. She's in Dr. Bird's Advice for Sad Poets. And those just seemed like fun options. So just young actress seemed like a good person to pick.
I like her look. She looks plucky. Yeah, she's cute. I just don't know anything. I'm not familiar with her work.
Yeah, same. So I was like, if there's someone you're more passionate about, I'm happy to go with them.
I don't know about passionate, but I do like her. She's an up-and-coming actress. She seems to be very popular. And since we're hearing these horrifying stories about how now people are casting based on social media followers, my God, have you heard this? I know, it's terrible. But in this case, she's both a good actress and has a big social media following, so...
Okay.
Sophie Wilde. She's in a show. She was in a show called Everything Now. She was in the remake of Tom Jones that was on PBS Masterpiece. She's actually an Australian actress, but she can convincingly do other accents. She's 27 in reality, but she looks so much younger. She just played a teenager.
Okay.
She's really cute, really popular, and she's got some chops.
I'm happy to go with her. This is one of those rare instances where it's like, I might be okay with the optics of not having an actual child opposite.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like, I was like, there's still those overtones that the Goblin King is in love with her, and I feel like even if she's portraying a child, I think maybe we should try to go with like a grown-ass woman. I'm
happy to do an 18 to look younger in this particular situation. This is normally I'm very like a big proponent of like a child should be a child because that's what brings the kids in to watch the movie. In this case, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, all right.
Because in this case, we still have puppets.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That brings us to Hoggle, who I gender swapped.
Me too.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, you
tell
go
me
first.
About your Hoggle.
No, you go first.
Okay. So the reason why I found this actress is because she is the voice of Ida the Owl Lady on the cartoon Owl House. Okay. Because like I wanted people who like had voiceover experience, like that sort of thing. And her more than anything else. She also was like famously on Just Shoot Me. She was most recently in Night Court. Like this is a woman who's been in television forever.
Okay.
Her name is Wendy Malick.
Oh, I know Wendy Malick. Of course. Yeah.
So, like, Wendy Malick as, like, that... Like, obviously, she's not going to be physically portraying Hoggle, but, like... I also was like, it's still going to be a puppet. I mean, the puppet should probably be the puppeteer, the voice, or whatever. But, like, this voice... And also, like... I also thought there were weird, like, overtones of Hoggle being in love with Sarah. And I'm like, I don't want that.
I don't want that. Same reason. That's exactly why I gender swapped, too. I was like, I don't want that. Don't need it.
And I also, that means that we can have now my favorite joke of, everybody, Hoggle's here. Did you call me Hag? No, I called you Hoggle. Just running jokes the whole movie. Don't call me Haggle. You're not Haggle. You're Hoggle. That's right. Okay.
Right. No, I say, we're so in the same mind meld. So I actually went with Melissa McCarthy.
Okay, great.
because I just think hilarious. Even though she's not known for doing a whole lot of voice work, that voice is so distinctive. And she's a famous ad-libber. So I thought she would have some fun with Hoggle. But again, I'm not super married to it, so it's whichever way you want to go.
Let's go through all three of them and then just like pick and choose the ones we like best.
Sounds good.
Who'd you have for Ludo?
Jack Black.
Sure.
Ludo doesn't have very many lines, let's face it.
It's a real Vin Diesel type situation with Groot. Well, speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, that's why for my Ludo I went with Dave Bautista.
Oh, I love Dave Bautista. I want it to be Dave Bautista just because I love him.
Great. And then that brings us to Didymus.
Yes. Okay, I had Bowen Yang from SNL.
Oh, that's probably better than mine. I went more earnest than that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I went with Ke-Huy Quan.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
It is. It's very
no, wait. Now you're tugging at my damn heartstrings. Hold on.
Yeah. So, like that's kind of like, I was like, I like Bowen Yang, it's like a little bit more of an edge to the humor.
Very much so.
But I also like it because if it's Bowen Yang, and it's like, okay, so what's the quote? Okay, so will you let us pass? Like, I just think that's so much funnier.
Right.
As opposed to, I think Ke-Huy Quan would be like, of course I'll let you pass. I mean, I can't. I have to, I would love to let you pass, but I have to honor I'm so sorry. I think Bowen Yang is better.
I see it both ways because I see Ernest as sort of the spirit of the original film, and I love him. But then I can foresee making that character a little bit more withering, a little bit more tart. So, and that's where I see Bowen come in. So I don't know. I can go either way.
Well, then let's ask the question. It sounds like we're going to go with Dave Bautista.
For sure.
So then who are the people we want to be around Dave Bautista? We have Wendy Malick and Melissa McCarthy and Ke-Huy Quan and Bowen Yang. Who are the two people you would put around Dave Bautista? You tell me. I will happily go with whoever you think. I'm happy going with Melissa McCarthy and Bowen Yang.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking.
They're both sarcastic, though.
They are. That's what you can't have both of them.
Okay.
So it has to be one or the other. I almost think I want to go Melissa McCarthy, Hoggle, and your choice for Didymus. Because he's so sweet. We love his story in real life. We love him as an actor. And I kind of like Didymus as Ernest. If we're going to have Crazy Hoggle... And Dave Bautista can be kind of funny with Ludo, too. He might be able to inject some of that humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the idea of what he was going for, of like, he's slimmed down a bunch, and like, this is a fun opportunity for him to kind of play the same kind of heavy, while also not having to bulk up like crazy.
Yeah. No, I think I like that trio. Yeah.
Okay, great. So then do you have any other characters?
I do.
Ooh, tell me.
I have two more. I have the junk lady, but now we don't have a junk lady.
We can absolutely still have a junk lady. I think that's hugely important to have a junk lady.
We have the volcano instead, but if the
volcano replaces the
bog of eternal stench.
That's right. Stench.
You're right.
We're still gonna have Hoggle poisoning Sarah.
Okay, good, because I like my junk lady.
Yeah, I want to know who your junk lady is.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh man!
Can't you just hear it?
Of course I can.
It's like the junk lady in her current incarnation is more like Natasha Lyonne, but like it's like I kind of want a little bit more of an airheady junk lady.
I almost made my Hoggle Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, that's amazing!
But no, I think Melissa McCarthy's more fun. Jennifer Coolidge for junk lady is fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Who's the other character you've got?
And then I had, because in the original you had people voicing multiple characters. Mm-hmm. I had Old Man with Bird Hat and the Worm. And I know how you feel about bringing back people from original movies, but this is a voice, and it's a nod to Jim Henson. And I thought we could have Brian Henson come back, who's the son of Jim, who voiced Hoggle in the original. If he did those characters, it's kind of cool to have a Henson still.
I mean, if we're going to be getting puppets, we're going to be getting a Henson regardless.
That's
true. I feel like that's probably the way to go.
You can't throw a stone without hitting a Henson.
It's
when
true.
There's puppets around.
Yeah. All right, great. That's our junk lady and our old man. So
love it.
Next up, writer and director. I have separate writer and director. Do you have separate or hyphenate?
I have a hyphenate.
Okay. So let me tell you about my writer, then you'll tell me about your hyphenate, and then I'll tell you about my director.
Great.
My writer, I kind of picked because, so my power was out a couple nights ago, and I watched a DVD, and the DVD I watched was The Marvels. So I went with the writer of The Marvels, a writer named Nia DaCosta. She also wrote Candyman.
I was going to say, I know
Little
that
Woods.
name. Okay.
And so she gets to do that blend of magical, fantastical, but also horror. Because, like, I feel like the writer of this needs to write scary, and then the director needs to direct light and fun and fluffy.
I completely agree with that. I like that.
So that's why I was like, I mean, she wrote Candyman? Yeah. Let's get this girl.
No, that's kind of cool. It's very edgy. My pick is not edgy at all.
Tell me.
It's kind of expected. But I had Peter Jackson.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
know. I love how you're like, yeah, of course.
Well, it's just... It's one of those things where, like, sometimes these things just, like, fall in a row. Like, my movie club met this past weekend, and the movie that got picked for Pride Month is Peter Jackson's first movie.
What is his first movie?
Heavenly Creatures.
Oh, God, no. I can never watch that movie again. It scarred me. I saw it in film school, and it scarred me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. No. Not to... Fabulous movie, don't get me wrong. Like,
Absolutely.
Really beautiful, operatic, literally, evocative movie, but so fucking disturbing. Yeah. Pride Month? That's a Pride Month pick? I know why, because of the relationship between the two leads, but, like, ew.
Let me tell you about my director.
All right.
For my director, I wanted earnestness, fun, adventure, and also has directed the story of a teenage girl and her very large friend. Because he is the director of Bumblebee. But he's also directed a lot of things for Laika, because he also directed Kubo and the Two Strings. And I like that idea because I was like, I don't want to necessarily go after someone who's done puppets recently, because, like, they have done puppets recently. And Laika movies are so similar. In the sense of, like kind of magic and wonder of, like,
I'm
just
looking
being
at
able
his
to
credits.
make these movies work.
I mean, listen, I am sort of on the side of, like, let's give these cool, edgy, not newbies, because they're both people with, you know, extensive credits, but yeah, let's do it. Let's go with the more interesting, like, pick and not expected pick, because Peter Jackson's pretty expected.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Okay, I'm happy to go with Nia DaCosta and Travis Knight.
Let's do it. I like it.
So that is Labyrinth. Let me take you through who we've got. Jareth is going to be played by Nkuti Gatwa. Sarah is going to be Sophie Wilde. Hoggle will be Melissa McCarthy. Ludo will be Dave Bautista. Didymus will be Kehoi Kwan. The Junk Lady will be Jennifer Coolidge. The Old Man, the Worm, the various other puppets is going to be Brian Henson, because we'll need him.
Yes.
All of this will be written by Nia DaCosta and directed by Travis Knight.
Ooh.
That is Labyrinth.
Labyrinth!
Shannon, you going to go see this movie?
You know what? Surprisingly, despite the way I started this podcast, I would go see our remake of Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah!
But we did it. We have done an ideal remake.
I like it. I love it, in fact. And I love this movie.
This movie's so good. Everyone should watch it. But that brings us to the point of the podcast where it's time for plugs. Please tell everyone about where they can find you if you would like to be found on social medias, and anything else you want people to do or watch or say or whatever.
Ooh. Oh, let's see. Well, everything I'm working on currently is sort of for myself. At some point, I would love to plug it. If I were to plug it, if something happens with it, it would be on my Instagram, which is Shannon Peace TV. Peace is spelled just the way it sounds. Peace. That's my last name. And in terms of things I need people to do, I mean, besides be kind to one another during these fraught times, I volunteer with a great organization. So I'd love people to familiarize themselves with that and get involved if they feel so inclined. It's Right Girl, WRITEGIRL. And you can find more information at rightgirl.org. And it's really cool. It's a creative writing and mentoring organization for teen girls and gender-expansive youth. And they pair them with professional writers. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I have a really impressive mentee who is 13, and I'm going to be working for her someday. It's already clear to me. And I don't know if I'm mentoring her or if it's the other way around, but it's a really good experience. So let's all get involved with the Utes of today.
That's wonderful. That's good. Yeah. So it's rightgirl.org.
It is.
I love that. Cool. If anyone wants to follow me, I am far less noble. I am on BlueSky at my name, Sam Gasch, SamGasch, or you can find me on Instagram at Ideal Remake, like the podcast name. Or you can always have a conversation with us about which puppet is your favorite puppet on the Dueling Genre Discord, which has a link in the show notes of this episode. But yeah, that is our remake of Labyrinth. So, Shannon,
Yes.
I'm going to end this episode the same way I end every episode. What is your favorite quote from the movie Labyrinth?
There are so many. But I did narrow it down to one. And it is when Sarah says, "That's not fair." And Jareth says, "You say that so often. I wonder what your basis for comparison is."
That's very good. Perfect. We did it.
We did it. Yay. Thank you so much, Sam. This was a blast.